Happy Monday. I processed some beef bone marrow bones with the thought of showing you all how to pressure can with the FORJARS pressure canner. So this video is more geared towards pressure canning than showing you how to make the bone broth. But what I did was I did roast my bone marrow bones for 45 minutes in the oven with a high of 400 degrees. And once I had my bones roasted, I did not put them in there with the bone marrow. I took the bone marrow out and I actually froze it. I like to use it in my dishes. I made a beef pot pie, so I sauteed some of the bone marrow with it. So for this project, I had 2 crock pots going. I cooked it on low for about 72 hours in total. This broth was more gelatinous after it settled than being loose, but I just wanted to still show the process. This is it going and simmering in that crock pot. So first, when you look at your pressure canner, you want to check the lid to make sure there's nothing obstructing the flow from your valve where the steam comes out of, and you want to make sure that there's no bolts loose. And I also made sure that my gasket was still oiled, and I put down 6 quarts of the beef broth inside of my pressure canner, and I added 3 quarts of water into my pressure canner. I only use 1 rack because I'm doing quarts. If I was doing multiple pints, I would have added that second rack. And you put your rack facing down. The rim around it should be facing down, not up, when you place them in a pressure canner. So I made sure those were nicely fitted in there. This one would fit 7 quarts inside of it, the FORJARS pressure canner. So I added 3 quarts of water. And after I added my 3 quarts of water, I added on my lid. The lid does have an arrow on it to show you where to align it with another arrow so that you can click it into place. And again, I'm showing you my pressure gauge, and you can see where the steam is going to come from. I made sure there was no obstruction in there so that the steam could come out properly. So after I got everything together, I put my lid on, and I'm showing you a weight here. This is just a 10-pound weight, and it has a locking mechanism so that when it goes on the spout for the steam, it'll actually lock into place and it won't easily fall off. So I have this 10-pound pressure gauge pressure weight, and then I have a weighted weight here. This one together is 15 pounds, but if you take it apart, the smaller piece that looks like a little top is 5 pounds by itself, and then each ring adds another 5 pounds to it. So with another 1 ring on it, that's 10 pounds. And then when you add the 3rd ring on there, that's 15 pounds of pressure. When you look inside of this one, it does not have that lock, but it does have grooves inside of it to make sure that it does stay on that spout for the steam that comes out. So after I got my pressure canner together, I made sure I turned on my electric stove. I put it on about 6, and then as you can see here, you see the steam coming out. What I like about the FORJARS pressure canner is you can actually hear the steam coming out of the spout. Once I got a steady stream for 10 minutes, I set a timer for 10 minutes, then I added my 10-pound weight on there, and I began to let it rise, let the pressure rise. So as you can see, it's a little bit off of the 0, and then it's going to gradually increase. So to do this beef bone broth, since I'm doing quarts, I need 10 pounds of pressure. So as it slowly began to rise to pressure, it went to 5. And then once it got to 10 pounds of pressure, I turned my dial down from the level of 6 with the heating mechanism. What I do want to say for people that are just starting to pressure can, don't be alarmed if you go from that 10 pounds of pressure that you need, and then as you turn your heat down, that you might get to 11. It does not take a lot of heat from your stove, from that eye, to maintain pressure. So I eventually put it down to 2, and it maintained my 10 pounds of pressure. As you can see, it went back down to 10 pounds of pressure, and it stayed steady at 10 pounds of pressure. As I was pressure canning this, I pressure canned it for that 25 minutes. And after that 25 minutes, you do want to be mindful to not move your canner. I didn't move my canner this time. Sometimes I'll take it and I'll put it on another eye, but I did read the directions with the FORJARS canner, and it said do not move it off of the eye, just leave it be. And I let this canner rest for 2 hours so that my pressure would not be an immediate change even after an hour, because even though the pressure comes down to 0, that canner is still very hot. So I waited 2 hours before I took them out. This is my finished result. Happy